Hello everybody, welcome back and welcome to Chaotic Neutral Games and our current D&D 5th edition campaign, The Benefactor. I'm Simon Cantor, your host and DM, and I have with me Nick, Felicia, Kate, Rodrigo and Corinne, our players. Previously on The Benefactor, we had a run-in with Renata Green herself, and they managed to size each other up. And there were a few little revelations. She knows more about the party than they would like. And after airing some of their grievances with her, they were given a mission that they agreed with. They met the victim of a swindler, an enchanter, apparently a talented enchanter, who swindled the local craftswoman out of a hammer that can be used to shape mithril, a metal that has a lot of benefits but is incredibly difficult to shape. They were given time to gear up. They were given a carriage by which they were able to go out into the countryside, where Zev, the enchanter, lives in a border fort. They managed to talk their way inside. Kate and Corinne managed to sneak inside by having Cora ride on Eclipse's back. And they're currently in delicate negotiation, where Glory, posing as Lady Glory, is asking for a present for her mother being a jeweler, or she likes to make her own jewellery. And one of the things, funnily enough, that she wants to work is mithril. Now, Zev has said that the hammer is not exactly made for mithril, but he's going to try to sell it to her anyway. There's also a discussion of potential other enchantments, trying to whet his appetite and get closer to him. During the discussions, Cora, who is still just outside, has been scouting out the building with her sprite, Awen. Also, hiding inside the room, which I'll point out in a minute, is Eclipse of the Moon, who has managed to stealth in with, I think, 24 or 27 to her stealth check, and is currently hiding behind a table as a sting in the tail for anybody who wants to start any funny business. And that's where we're going to get started.
We are so doomed.
Everything is fine. So,
We're dead.
Game over, man! Game over!
You guys can see the map there, which should be in the centre of the screen for everybody else. And you are all currently either stood or sat around a table. So Gloria sat down talking to Zev. Farewell is leaning up against the wall. Aiden is leaning up against the desk, and he's the closest to the hammer at the moment. They were considering for Aiden, who is posing as a servant of Glory, to hand the hammer to her for inspection. The two guards...
Yeah, I was going to give the hammer to Glory.
Sure.
I was going to do that last session.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I have an idea.
Can I get through this? Can I get through the description first before IDs?
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
I thought you were finished.
No. I was just giving Rodrigo a chance to say that he was going to do that. So next to Aiden, looking very unimpressed by Zev, there's a not exactly sibling rivalry, but there's certainly not a great deal of sibling love. Darrow has been kind of rolling his eyes and showing disdain for Zev, who has been purring and primping and trying to impress Glory as much as possible. Also, there is the sister, Naira, who we've placed next to the kitchen. She's currently bussing back and forth, putting out glasses for wine and bringing in various foods to host. You've been told that, like Zev, they are spellcasters, but Zev is stronger than the other two. They have two mundane guards, which are sat at a nearby table, and even though they're watching, they seem to be not very interested. This just seems to be a business transaction, and that's Ben and Eric. At the bottom of the screen, I'll just move the camera very slightly, is Eclipse of the Moon. There we go. And she's behind a table. You were all looking around to see if you could find the Hat of Disguise. You were told that this is something that Zev uses to get in and out of the city. He'll go in as himself. He'll normally swindle somebody, or if somebody offers enough money, he might not swindle them and just kind of get paid. And then he'll leave the city looking like somebody else. So you guys were looking for the hat. To remind you from the rolls that you had last week, you believe that Zev is currently wearing the hat, and his very primped and preamed and well manicured facade and his really good clothes may be a result of the hat. You have noticed that everything else is a bit of a sty. There's stuff thrown about the place. There's clutter. They're kind of hoarders. And Zev will mostly be as dirty and unkempt as the rest of the surroundings. But thanks to the hat, which he could have just thrown on last minute, he now looks immaculate. Looks very attractive as well, which doesn't seem to translate across to the two siblings if they are blood siblings. There is a small circle, little green circle at the top of the map, where you will find a bottle or canteen of unending water. Whilst you were looking for enchanted items, there are quite a few around here, various scrolls and things. He is an enchanter after all. There's a cantina that you can see, or a kind of cylindrical bottle, and you've seen these type of things before. They're fairly standard, and it is a bottle of unending water. It allows you to go on long distance trips through deserts and things like that, and you'll never run out of water to drink. Other than that, we're going to time in with Zev speaking to Glory. You said you had an idea, Corinne, before we get started.
Yes, I was gonna say, what I could do is I can do kind of Indiana Jones thing, as in I can, with my invisible mage hand, because I am an Arkham Trickster and that's the thing they're about, take the hammer, replace it with minor illusion, the hammer.
Okay, the one thing I did remind... Sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, are you saying this through the messenger thing to people?
Yes, I will be doing that if that's a thing we can do without, like, because that's the thing we can do. It's basically a message thing. Do we having to speak to use the messenger system, or is it the thought-activated thing?
So to remind both the players and the watchers, each of the players, because they are now part of the green organization, has a green sigil that they keep either in their pocket or on their person. Some people keep it on their person because in the city it means that if you harm that person, the green organization will hunt you down. You know that if you touch the symbol and think of another member of the organization, you are able to send a message. You have been told that outside of the city it will be difficult contacting someone in the city, but you know that you'll get enough reception around here, enough range, to be able to talk to the rest of the party.
If you say that, I'll probably reply going, I thought we were having to take it obviously. I thought we have to threaten this guy in the name of Miss Green. Right?
True.
Like, we don't want to sneak it away. He's meant to know we're taking it.
That's very true. I'm just very used to killing. Just taking things sneakily.
A question. Does Glory, like, already gave the hammer to Glory? Does she have it in her hands?
Yeah, I'm inspecting it.
Okay.
Because you have to know the craftsmanship.
We can all hear what Cora were saying, right? That's something we all can hear. Okay.
If she chooses to, yes.
All right. So here's something I want to do.
Go for it.
As soon as I see Glory has the hammer in her hands, in her possession, I go, "Hey Sev, look at me. Sev, look at me."
Yes. How can I help you?
And then I take out the green sigil, and then I say, "Bitch."
Here goes.
I'm glad it's not me doing the stupid thing for one.
I drop my illusion, just kind of appear there as a big long cat going smirking.
Zev looks at you, Aiden, and goes, "Oh, it's like that." And he kind of looks he looks sidelong at Glory and pouts as if to say, "Oh, you betrayed me." And he says, "So, what exactly does Miss Green want to say to me? Does she have interest in the hammer? Oh, is she your grandmother?"
Oh, darling. This. See, the hammer, it came from one of Miss Green's. So you have to understand, she needed to send someone to remind you of who you're dealing with.
Oh dear, was that idiot one of her employees? She should do better.
By the way, as he says that, I'm gonna use Blood Curse of the Binding on him.
Thank you. I was gonna suggest you do that.
Like subtly, like that way. If he tries to do something, he's gonna find out he can't move for shit.
Okay.
And I'm gonna amplify. By the way, so I'm gonna take damage.
Yeah.
Sure. You slice your hand as you do so, and I believe I have to make a check.
Yeah, it's a strength check.
Oh, and Enchanter doing a strength check. I
don't
think he's doing well.
You never know, he might work out.
And that 20s are a thing.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
Hey, he could be hench. Right, so how am I going to do this? Yeah.
Poorly, hopefully.
You can but hope.
You chose poorly.
I've waited so long. I knew you'd come.
Okay, so he rolled a 12. But he's at -1.
So he failed.
Yeah, that doesn't make it.
So you watch as he's talking. He's just about to say something, and he just goes, as all the muscles in his body start to seize up. You know that.
And I just like leans like, yeah, you were saying.
So you know that your abilities, Aiden, are from the form of biomancy. So it's kind of magical mutagens, and it basically blood calls to blood, and you've just told his body to rebel against him, and he's fighting his own body to be able to regain control. At that point, I think we need to do initiative.
Oh dear.
I have been waiting for this.
Don't call out.
I was going to say, Sam, do we get any sort of a surprise on them, or is it?
No, you got a Mr. Bond moment instead of a surprise. Yeah. If Aiden had jumped across the table and stabbed him in the throat, that would have been surprise. Although saying that, it wouldn't be much of a surprise. I'd still allow them to do a insight check to see whether or not they could predict it. So, top of the list that I've got on my app, Eclipse, what is your initiative?
It's 21.
Okay. Glory.
1 second. I was just getting my stuff out. Let's see here. What do I even have in initiative? 6.
Okay, 6 total. Okay.
Yeah.
Cora.
Well done.
Mm-hmm.
Cora, what's your initiative? Okay. Aiden.
I'm starting to get warm here.
18.
Okay. Farewell.
11.
Okay. And the rest of them can... Okay, so the initiative order is Eclipse, Aiden, Zev, Cora, Farewell, Naira, Darrow, Ben, Glory, then Ben, then Eric. Okay?
Okay.
Is Ben and Eric the two gods?
Yes.
Ben and Eric are the two gods. If you have a look on the map, it actually says guard brackets Ben and guard brackets Eric. So if you kill them, you know their names. You know their names.
Yeah. We know their names.
But what was their mother's name?
Who cares?
Bobolina and
Too soon.
Bobolina 2.
It's been more than a year.
Still raw.
Okay. So, top of the shop is Eclipse. I'm going to do some role-playing elements as we're doing this. And Cora, you're around about... Let me just check. We've put you in the room, yeah. So you're kind of 10 foot outside the door. So when you come in, just take 10 off your speed, and then you can place yourself where you want on your turn.
I was imagining I was outside. While this was happening, I was going to say I was going to sneak in, but I don't think I got in. I wouldn't have got in before the initiative, if you know what I mean. Like, I would have seen this happen and then initiative, so...
Yeah. It happened very quickly. So, Eclipse, what are you doing?
So I'm gonna shoot the brother that is right next to Aiden.
Mm-hmm.
So,
The guy standing right next to me, this guy?
Yep.
And gonna miss on a 9.
Yep, Darrow, yep.
Yeah, and I miss on a 9.
Okay, are you attacking with advantage?
No, am I?
Well, you've only just this second dropped the invisibility, and and Darrow was watching Aiden, so I'm going to say I'll allow it just for this turn.
Okay, thank you.
The threat was coming right next to Darrow, so Darrow hasn't been looking anywhere else other than the guy who he wants to now stab.
Yeah. 15?
15 hits. Yeah, Zeb is wearing clothes. I mean, he's just in his regular clothes.
Yeah. So yes, because I'm going for this guy. Cool. And that's another. Okay, so this family.
Look at all the dice she's rolling.
14 points of pew damage.
Okay, 14 points.
Pew. Time. But not real time because I don't have a crossbow.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna duck back down and do a hide and hide.
Okay, so give me a stealth check.
Yeah. Ooh, good. That is a 16 plus 7. It's 23.
Yep. Okay, yeah, so you duck away. So basically, you shoot him, and before he gets to turn around, you're under the table.
Yeah.
Okay. Aiden, go for it.
Hello.
You're in You're in
first of all,
melee contact with Darrow, who has just had a arrow slung into his back.
Alright, okay, so here's what I'm going to do. First of all, I'm going to turn to Glory and I say, remember, intimidate, not massacre.
I'm glad you did that. You saved me a job.
Hopefully that won't take much of my turn, but after doing that, I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to fucking slash this guy, I forgot his name because I'm bad at names. With my rapier because I feel like he's going to try something. So.
Yep, so you're going to slash Darrow, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, go for it.
That's an 18 to hit.
Yeah, it definitely hits.
Okay, let's see. What's this one? That's going to be 9 points of... Well, I said I was going to slash him, but this is actually piercing damage, so...
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Stab.
Yeah, so after the having an arrow in his back, you manage to poke a hole in him with your rapier, and there's a look of rictus on Darrow's face. You can see that his lips are peeling back, showing this horrible grimace, this horrible snarl, and his eyes are starting to glow. The next up is Zev himself. So Zev is going to. What's your DC, Aiden?
12. And he does the saving throw at the end of his turn.
Yep. Yeah, I'm just pre-rolling it. So. Okay. So that'll happen at the end. Okay. So yeah, Zev tenses and struggles, and suddenly, with a burst of will, suddenly goes. Kill them! That's his turn. So he's managed to break out of your holding with a natural 17, and but he loses his first go, which is like that all-important surprise round. Cora, what are you doing?
Okay, Cora is realizing all the shit's going down quite quickly suddenly, and everyone's all in one place, and she's not there. So, so she is. Oh, can't pick her up. I can't pick her up. But anyway,
I'll change that in a sec.
Okay. So she's. I think she's gonna try and get in, but stay covered. So she's kind of gonna go next to Eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
I think she can get there. 15, 20, 25.
Can you see me though? Do you know where I am?
Well, even if I can't, I'm going to try a similar thing to what you're doing, which is hide behind the nearest table.
Yeah.
And she can only get 25 feet. She's small. She's got little legs. So she's in the square beneath Eclipse, basically. Oh, I can move her. Sorry, I had it on the measuring thing. Me and Roll20 are still new. Okay, so she can make it to there, and she isn't really sure what to do.
Well, we're getting rid of all the. I think our plan at the moment is to subdue everyone who is not Sev.
Well,
excuse me. As far as I'm concerned, we're on to Plan B by now, and Plan B involved me slaughtering everything.
I already told you, intimidating, not massacre.
Casting hold person on our main guy because she sees that he just broke out of it, and that's her first thing to do is hold him. I mean, that might not be the right thing, but it's happening.
It's really good.
The decision is made. Hold person or on yes.
Okay, so what's the
humanoid? You can see target must succeed a wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom saving throw? Okay, so he's on +0. He got a 15.
That might do it. My spell DC is 13, so yeah.
He feels the spell. He's magically inclined himself. He feels the spell settling onto him, and he turns in your direction. Actually, looks at you and goes, "No, oh no."
Oh, I'm kind of half gutted the thing, but I guess he sees me. I'm like, ooh.
Stop rolling well, Simon. You've had a natural 17 and a natural 15. Roll out.
And now we're trying to hit him, so, you know.
It's illegal.
So, is that everything for Cora?
Eldritch Blast.
Sorry. Eldritch Blast is an action. Everything's an action for me, so I think Hex. Oh, wait, what's Hex is about?
Oh, you can Hex.
You can hex him.
Hex and give disadvantage.
I'm going to hex his brother, who's standing next to Aiden.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm worried that the other spellcasters, or that they're going to, because they're going to help. So I'm going.
What ability check would you like to give disadvantage to?
Ooh. Would I know what ability you need for like spells? Is it
Wisdom if they're wizards?
It doesn't do that because you don't need specific ability checks for your spell casting. It's more for like grapple checks and stuff. Just nothing for your saves, which is because that would be quite overpowered.
I will do a wisdom on him because then if we want to hold him, it's a wisdom saving throw he has to make. So
okay, so what happens is that it's ability checks. So skill checks. Unfortunately, that doesn't include attacks or saves. is a little crappy, and I've long since wanted to have a deeper look at.
So it's things like persuasion, intimidation, insight.
Yeah. So, for example, certain things. If you wanted to grapple someone, you could turn around and say, "Right, you've got disadvantage on Dex checks because it's a named acrobatics check to get out of there." Another one would be stealth. So you know that stealth is based on Dex. If you think someone's going to try to run away and hide, for example, you're going up against a rogue that can hide as a bonus action, you could turn around and nerf their Dex.
But if you nerf his wisdom, he has disadvantage on spotting me, for example. So
I can't nerf wisdom. That's what we were saying. I can nerf perception.
Oh, you can nerf wisdom, and that will apply to all wisdom skill checks. If you nerf Dex, that will apply to all Dex skill checks.
Okay. So I can nerf one of the main skills.
You can nerf wisdom. Yeah.
Okay. Then. I will nerf wisdom still.
Okay. It's an instant pass because Hex just falls on someone. So that is your concentration taken now. And I will give Darrow a nice little badge to say that he is hexed. What badges have we got here? So let's give him a skull and crossbones because that's always fun. There we go. Little skull and crossbones for Darrow. Okay.
Now I have to talk like this. Arr.
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 Okay, is that everything, Cora?
Yeah, that's all my movement and all the actions I can do as far as I know.
Okay, farewell.
Okay, I would like to, oldie but goodie, cast Silence, but I'd like to get it so much that this 20-foot sphere gets Zed and his brother, but not Glory. So I don't mind if Aiden's caught in it and the guards, but preferably I kind of want it to shape it so much that me and Glory are just outside of it.
Right, okay. So let me draw that. I can draw that for you now. So...
they need to figure out if they're in Son of Silence or if they just lost their hearing.
So you wanted... and it's a 20-foot diameter, isn't it?
Yeah, 20-foot sphere.
Okay, right. So in that case, this...
Like that?
That's kind of... Yeah, that's kind of it.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, did you say sphere?
Is a
But
sphere.
that's kind of... That's still kind of what it got. So it's a 20-foot diameter.
Jesus Christ.
No, we're just going to start scribbling.
This is no longer a D&D stream. This is
Like
how to draw
that?
squares and circles.
I don't know how big it's supposed to be. No.
Oh,
Okay, so it...
the silence cube.
So-
I think so. I'm gonna have to clean that up now.
Yeah. I don't know how you clean stuff up, so hey ho.
Right, so let me put this back in. It's also cleared up the image that I had of the location of the flask, so you're gonna have to remember that. So your zone of silence takes up this much.
Perfect. That's exactly where I
That's
want it.
perfect.
Okay, cool. Right, so that's that for farewell. Anything else? Anything with a bonus action or?
Yeah, I'd like to cast my spiritual weapon.
Sure. What does your spiritual weapon look like?
It's going to be a big hammer because I'm just in the mood to hit something today. So I'm going to have a great big spiritual weapon hammer. It's going to appear and it's going to smack them. Oh,
Right.
actually, can I cast it? No, I can't cast spiritual weapon as I don't have any second level spell slots because I used one in the Renata conversation and we have not had a long rest. So ignore that. I can't do that.
What's
Okay.
the
It's a good-
user Renata conversation?
Guidance.
No,
Oh.
guidance is kind of, I used improvability. So what I am going to do, because I've not got to use it yet, is I'm going to use Channel Divinity Path to the Grave,
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
and I'm going to cast it on... We might as well damage one down, so I'm going to cast it on this dude here.
So whatever hits him next he has vulnerability to that damage. So Glory,
That's
go
correct.
pew 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 pew.
Oh, that's the plan. Which one did you say you put it on?
On Darrow.
That guy.
Oh, he's gonna get fucked.
I had something planned, and I think it's gonna work.
Okay, so let's put another little badge on poor Darrow. There you go. I've got a little heart badge on him to say that he's gonna be wasted probably by the next attack. And that is farewell. So it is now Darrow's turn. So
He's in a zone of silence.
Does he realize he's a son of silence, or does he think he's gone deaf?
well, let's find out, shall we?
How
So
stupid is he?
we're about to find out. Oh, pretty damn stupid. Pretty damn stupid. Yeah, I mean, for a guy who can cast spells, he's about to blow one of his spell slots. So, Glory and Eclipse. Glory and Eclipse. Yes, Glory and Eclipse. You are both arcane casters, and so you have seen before in your many kind of dealings with the arcane arts someone who performs the rather what do you call it, pompous flourish of the invisibility spell. And you watch as Darrow does it once, and then does it again, and then realizes what just happened. So, it has got a verbal element, so that's what he was going to do. And he then makes a second gesture, as if he was about to say, oh, well, I'll try something else. And he tries another spell, but it doesn't work. Okay.
Okay.
Totally worth blowing my life.
He can't cast 2 spells a turn. What he's done is just some very frantic gesturing, because... And he then runs his full speed. So there's going to be attack of opportunity in a sec. And he's going to make a beeline for the stairs. So he's going to attempt to get to here.
Yeah, that works.
Which I just realised is off the map for the viewers. So let me just do that. So he's going to try to go to the stairs. However, he's walking away from Aiden. Attack of opportunity.
I go for the legs.
Only 29 feet? Oh,
Can you do
that's
blood press of the binding as a reaction?
Oh, don't worry. He won't be alive next turn.
Oh my god! Glory, no! 11 to hit.
11? Yeah, hits.
Oh my god.
He's wearing a robe.
Aiden, you roll double damage because you've hit him and he's got vulnerability on him, so it's as if you critted.
Oh.
So double your dice.
Oh,
wow.
shit.
I'm just gonna multiply what I get by 2. And then add.
And then add your bonuses. But yeah, that's what my channel divinity does.
Alright.
Yeah, which is why we said to Glory to go on it, but he went away from.
That's gonna be 11 points of damage.
Righto. Okay. Is that is that doubled?
No, yeah, that's the total after I doubled it.
Okay. It's an odd number though.
It's an odd number.
Oh, by the way, it's all damage is doubled, so it's including your stat. So if you double your stat bonus as well.
Oh, okay, so that's gonna be... Oh wow, that's gonna fucking hurt for him then.
Yeah, that's why I'm getting out the D6s.
It's only Overwatch once. but
It'll
he
drop,
says it-
Glory.
No, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
16.
Okay. So what happens is this. Darrow, with an incredible turn of speed, launches away from you and gets to the location that you can currently see on the map. What you also see is a trail of red across the floor where he doesn't quite, just with the adrenaline and with the flight or fight response, doesn't realize that you've opened an artery on your leg, on his leg. So he gets to the stairs, so he got to his location, well done, Darrow, and then dies, collapsing in a heap on the floor.
You just hear a low whistle from Farewell. That's quite impressive.
Glory's just nodding along like, nice.
Okay. So the next one up is Naira. Naira comes dashing out of the kitchen. You have a feeling she was watching from a distance. And she comes in and she says a word. Do any of you speak Abyssal?
Yes.
I do.
Okay, 2 of you. She says the word defense in Abyssal. And as she does so...
Zev can't hear her, by the way.
Oh, Zev can't hear her. No. She's not asking Zev. Oh, let me get rid of...
Glory speaks 4 languages. She's a good girl.
Oh my god, really?
Yes.
Homework.
Common, infernal, abyssal, draconic. You know, the important things.
It'll be common, bad common, even worse common, and posh common.
Yes.
Make those languages official.
So you're saying she's speaking English, Cockney,
American.
Now, don't be racist, Corinne.
Right. Shots fired, but 3 creatures, and you can see them there, appear in front of Glory, Aiden, and kind of force themselves between Glory and Aiden and Zev himself. They're strange-looking homunculi.
Okay.
With a kind of strange purple tinge to them. I've just realised the tint colour's gone a bit weird. But yeah, they've got this strange purple tinge to them, like they are exuding some sort of ichor.
Can we roll anything to see if we recognize
Actually,
what type of creation that is?
If I'll allow it as a free action because it's still the girl's turn. I'll allow you to do a very quick on-the-spot identification. This would be, I would say an Arcana check.
Is that only for Glory?
Anybody who'd like to do it, I think.
19.
Sure.
Simon, a question. Does this apply to my Hunter's Bane? Like, is it related with undead, fae, or fiend? Because otherwise, because if it is, it will give me advantage.
Have advantage anyway. I'm not going to answer your question, but I'm going to give you advantage anyway.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
That's cool.
Now I'm going to give Aiden advantage only.
Yeah.
I got 16.
Okay.
13. Bleh.
Okay.
19. So.
Right. So the following people get the following things. Glory, you understand that these are arcane constructs of a kind. They do use a form of biomancy. Okay. Which is why, Aiden, even though you got 13, you don't know what these things are, but you do know that a form of biomancy was used.
Right.
Okay.
So biomancy is an arcane craft. And as I
Yeah.
say, it's like magical mutagens, where the blood hunters they follow a particular ritual, particular method, and it's equal parts alchemy, divine ritual, and personal trial. So there's a bit of warlock magic, a bit of pact going in there as well. This is very much just the shaping of flesh, creation and shaping of flesh, and giving it a kind of AI, a kind of magical AI. I guess AI in this case meaning arcane intelligence. And they've just appeared and they're all just snarling at you. They're not the hugest, they're kind of the size of about a medium dog each. but they look vicious. They've got horrible needle-like teeth. They've got clawed and webbed hands, a slight kind of aquatic look to them. The closest that you would know Glory is a homunculus, but homunculi normally are quite small. You can normally kick one, a good hearty kick will normally destroy a homunculus and just turn it into some, fleshy components. These look more substantial.
Okay. Interesting.
You have a feeling that you could probably study these afterwards and gain some knowledge. Okay, so the next thing that Naira is going to do is she's going to point at, I guess she's pointing at Farewell.
Oh no.
Okay, and she's going to...
How rude.
Naira...
Healer.
So Naira is going to try and cast a spell on Farewell. Okay. And let's have a go at this.
So what she did wasn't a spell.
No.
No, her previous...
They were most likely already there, just waiting.
Okay.
If I'll take a gander, since she just told them to defend and they showed up.
So...
Question, do they look intelligent?
They look like they have a form of base sentience.
No, I was more thinking of, do I think they might listen to me if I spoke the same language back?
You guess that Abyssal is probably based, because the trigger word was Abyssal, you probably think that they would understand Abyssal. As to whether or not they are compelled to obey anybody who speaks to them, well, you'll find out on your turn. So,
Okay.
Farewell, I have a question. Do you have 26 hit points or lower?
Oh no.
No, I have more than 26 hit points.
Good. In that case, the sleep spell that was fired at you fails.
I have 27 health.
I don't know why, but my mind immediately went to power word kill.
Yeah,
don't know
I was
why.
going there. I was thinking, fucking hell, that's a big level spell, but yeah, no.
Okay, so the other thing she does is she pulls out what seems to be some sort of cooking knife, and she's going to do an offhand attack on you, Farewell, but she hits your armor. She kind of is a little surprised that underneath your kind of priestly, what they call it, tabard, that you've got substantial armor under there, and it smarts a little bit because even when you get stabbed with chainmail, you still get the pressure, but it just doesn't get into the skin. So yeah, you feel a little bit of a nasty bruise, but nothing to get rid of any hit points. And so yeah, so kind of ineffectual there. So Glory, you know what you can see now is you've got the 3 homunculus type creatures who are kind of sizing the rest of you up, and they're kind of picking a target to jump on. And the 2 bandits are pulling cruel-looking scimitars out from their belts.
Okay.
Did you have any good AoE spells, Felicia?
AoE? I mean, I got
I think
more than one person, yes.
I don't think she's got Fireball yet.
Fireball, not quite yet. But I have some stuff I planned.
I was gonna say, do you have color spray? Oh no, I don't know what.
No.
Oh, let her go. Let her go. She's got a plan. Let's see the plan.
Yeah.
Yes. Would it count as a bonus action to tell them in Abyssal to stand down?
That's a free action. A couple of words is a free action.
Yes. I would like to do that.
Okay, just very quickly, are you trying to convince them or are you trying to command them?
Command.
Okay, roll me an intimidation check.
Yes.
No. Give the girl. She's quite intimidating.
That's an 18 plus 3.
Jesus. They've got a roll to resist. the first. Okay, the first one spits at you. The second one kind of gives you a kind of as does the third one. So two of them are looking at you as if to go, was this a drill kind of thing? And the third one is snarling at you as if to say,
Did it pass a 21?
it met a 21. And I'm ruling based on its upbringing that you needed to exceed it to change its natural state. So one of them, and I'll say it's the nearest one to you, is kind of like, nah, you're not my master, and it looks like it's going to try to attack you. The other two, they're kind of in half a mind of, what do we do? I'm not sure.
I love how,
So-
like, they're too, like, I think at least one of them was too dumb to be intimidated.
Yeah, that's probably it. Well, I tried.
That was your free action.
Yeah.
So what is your move? Your turn.
Well, I'm gonna use a bonus action after this, so don't roll over me there. But I would like to use my first part to cast Scorching Ray. Since that one can hit at 3 targets, and I'd like to fire them one at a time.
Sure,
So-
that's not a problem.
Basically, what I do is I lean back, like drum one hand on my belt, and then snap my finger, and these runes appear and shoot the lasers. That's the visual I'm going for.
Sure.
Lazy.
'Cause,
All I want is tieflings with frickin' lasers on them. Yep, okay.
yeah.
Piety laser.
And since this one refused to listen to me, it's the first one to get hit.
Okay, okay, so you're going to hit the one that's directly in front of you.
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
I'm supposed to make a ranged spell attack for each ray.
Yep, that's it. So fire the first ray.
Yes. First ray is a 16 plus 5, and my DC is 13. So
Yeah, that
You
hits.
don't need to worry about the CC.
Yeah, that hits.
yeah. So that is 2d6 damage.
Yep, roll it.
That's a 5 and a 4, so 9 damage in it.
Yep, 9 points of damage. As you hit it, it kind of it starts to kind of convulse and thrash with rage.
Is
Yeah,
he still alive?
Uh,
I don't know.
yeah, he's still alive, but he's in a lot of pain.
There.
I snare slightly and hit it one more time.
Go for it.
That's a 10 plus 5, so 15.
Yes, that hits.
Decent. That's a 6 plus 2, so 8.
Okay, so 9 plus 8. Yeah, that guy's dead. So
Okay, good.
yeah, so the first two laser beams go onto the first homunculus, and he goes up in a puff of not a puff of smoke. He's actually just this writhing bit of fire now.
Yeah. He spit on me. He deserved it.
Okay, you have a
now
third
I-
laser.
Yes. I look over to the lady because she tried to stab my friend right next to me, like, hello.
Sure.
Rude.
Oh, thanks.
That's
all
a 12
friends
plus
now.
5, so 17.
17. That hits.
Goody goody.
God, you're rolling like a fucking monster.
Yeah.
That's 6 damage in her.
Yep. So
Roll.
okay, 6 damage. That definitely causes an impact, and you hear her shriek as the flame licks out and catches her,
Mm-hmm.
and narrowly missing farewell, and scorches her.
Ah!
Okay, that was the third laser, so that's that attack.
All you've got left now is your bonus action.
Yes, and since I'm a lovely sorcerer, I also picked Quicken Spell as my thingy. So I'm gonna use 2 sorcery points to cast Scorching Ray again.
Sure. So for people who are watching, I have strong opinions on the Quicken ability and on what you can cast. So in my games, you can if you have a spell that casts an action and a spell that casts a bonus action, you can cast both on a single turn. My reason for that is that if you cast a spell that costs an action, you don't then get precluded from using a spell that costs a reaction. For example, Hellish Rebuke. You would be allowed to do that. So as far as I'm concerned, you can technically in one turn do up to 3 spells. One that says action, one that says bonus action, and one that says reaction. The Quicken ability of the sorcerer allows you to use 2 sorcery points to cast a spell that has an action as its duration for casting, and turn it into a bonus action. So in this case, I allow, for example, Fireball, Quicken, Fireball, which one day we will probably see Glory do.
Yes.
And basically, if whatever beasties I put up against them can't deal with that, well, I'm not doing my job. Or I intend for them to be that weak. But anyway, so let's. What is your second spell?
Another Scorching Ray.
Oh god. Okay. So yeah, another 3 lasers burst out of your body.
Yes.
I want someone to change the text from the Quicken ability to be like, be able to cast another a spell using an action as a bonus action at the cost of gaining the DM's anger.
Okay, so where does laser number 4 go to?
Laser number 4. Well, she's in pretty much pain now, but still, she was rude. Another guy's already dead, so
You
another
were
one
rude.
hurt. Yeah.
Okay, cast. Go for it.
That is only a 9 plus 5. That's 14.
Yep, that hits.
Oh, thank you. I was a little bit worried there. That's stuff, but that's 6 plus 2. That's 8 more damage in her.
Okay, so yep, so she's taken a total of 14 points of damage so far.
Mm-hmm.
She's not enjoying the large amount of fire that's been hitting her, but she's not dead yet.
Well, that just won't do. Again?
Yeah, I'm assuming that laser number 5 is going her way, yeah.
Yeah.
I was hoping to hit somebody with my mace
16
today.
plus 5, that's a hit.
Yeah, that's definitely a hit.
You're rolling really well.
Yeah, that's a bad damage roll though.
Oh, sorry,
Only
man.
6 damage.
Right, okay. Okay.
Is she on fire?
Well, yeah, she's on fire. I've just given her a little symbol, in fact. But she's alive. She is regretting that state of affairs, but she is alive. She's heavily scarred, heavily charred. Her skin is ashen. Her one eye is pretty much useless. Where one of the lasers hit, it pretty much just coursed up her neck and across her face. And one of her eyes has basically been cooked. She screamed and writhed around, and she's reaching out as if to curse you or something like that, but she's only just had a go, so you know, chances are she's not going to get.
Wasn't it? She still has 1 laser left.
There is one more laser.
There's one more laser.
Oh,
Do it. Coup de grace. Coup de grace.
No, but
one more laser.
Aiden did tell me to not kill her, and she's almost dead.
We can
No,
kill.
he said not to massacre. He never said you couldn't kill him.
Oh, that's true. I can still kill her.
Yes.
It depends on your definition of a massacre.
We just just can't kill Sev. The important thing is not to kill Sev. You can kill him.
That is true. I pointed that out earlier.
So
As long as I don't kill him.
So kill 3 homunculi and 4 humans. Still not technically a massacre because someone had a pulse at the end of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway.
we need to talk alignment at some point.
Laser on the lady.
Look, if Glory's not playing lawful evil, then I don't understand how this game works.
She's lawful neutral.
That's weird.
I know. It's great. She's lawful in the sense that she follows her culture's rules and laws. But she grew up in a culture led by a black dragon. It's a bit on the weird side. So for her, this is going easy. Anyway, I just rolled a crit 20.
Roll 4d6 damage.
Yes. That's 3. I need another set of dice. I will have to use one of my extras.
Just if you want to, I don't know if you allow this, Simon, but at least the way I do criticals is just roll the normal amount of like damage die, but then multiply by 2.
Yeah, but that's no fun. I want
So-
to roll 4 dice.
I offer
Let
both.
the woman roll. Let
Yeah.
the lady roll 4 dice, man.
Okay, to clear what happens in my games is that you get to choose whether you roll
Alright.
2 dice and double them, or roll double the dice. Most people tend to go for doubling the dice because there's a more reliable chance of getting a decent amount of damage. And you get to roll more pretty
Alright.
dice.
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
Sorry.
Okay, that's a 6 plus 5 plus 2 plus 2. That's 15.
Okay. So she's dead, obviously. I think that was a given.
All we hear is a little like puff and then just fire as she burns.
I really wish someone, as this was happening, was going, "Stop! Stop! No, she's already dead!"
They probably are, but they're in the silence.
So I would like to know, where does this laser hit Glory?
Oh no.
Oh god.
Where on her body?
It's a
Oh, no.
crit, so I'd say in the middle of the chest.
Okay, so you haven't quite completely immolated this woman. However, you got very close to getting her to minus her hit points, because a lot of her hit points that you've been taken away is actually temporary hit points that they put up around themselves. So these guys only have 16 hit points, but they have a lot of temporary hit points because when strangers came, they all cast a strange form of ablative mage armor on themselves. Yeah. So you ate through the temporary hit points, ate through her real hit points, and then put her. Was it 12? No, you did 16 damage, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, sorry, in that case, you put her 14 under, which is nearly 16 under. 16 under, you would have completely turned her to ash.
Yeah.
What you've done instead is that you've managed to burn a gaping hole in her torso. And as she falls, her burning body falls, you can actually see through her and out the other side.
Oh my god.
Okay, may I just go back to the fact that before this, I just leaned back, smirked before snapping my finger and lasers appeared?
Oh, yeah. You're still...
Because I'm fabulous.
Yes, you're sitting back in the chair and you've just snapped your fingers as if you're one of the worst people in the world and you've just summoned a waiter. Yeah?
Yeah.
And instead, lasers just shot about the place and immolated a spellcaster and a homunculus.
Yes.
Okay. And that's what Glory did.
Yes.
So...
I'm happy with my
Terrible person.
Question before we continue. How much damage did I just do in one turn? I'm curious.
Let me see. You did a 6, 9, and an 8. So that's
I said zillion.
17,
Wait, too much.
23. I think you did somewhere in the region of about 39 points of damage.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty nasty.
At level 3, that's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, first of all it's actually Ben first. So Ben pushes forward, pushes in front of the homunculus, jumps on the table, and is going to try to bring his scimitar down onto Glory. So,
Question?
yeah?
I got Hellish Rebuke.
Yes, it will apply in a second.
Nice.
So, Glory, does 16 hit?
No. Yes, I think it does hit, actually.
I was about to say, you're wearing a dress, so I should imagine it
Yeah,
does.
I only have 13 in AC.
Okay.
We need to get you mage armor.
Just check.
No.
Hang on, just to check. Glory, what is your dex modifier?
0.
+0.
Okay, yeah, in that case it's 13. Right, so he does go to hit you, so can you please... we'll get to your Hellish Rebuke. He slashes you for 3 points of damage.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Ben's used this sword before. Not much, but he's used it before.
Okay.
And what do you need to do for your Hellish Rebuke?
I'm gonna check my spellbook. Let's see here.
It's a
One
thing.
reaction. It's a first level spell slot.
It's a
One
spell
reaction
slot.
is being damaged by a creature within 60 feet. Duration instinct. I point my finger, and the creature that damaged you is momentarily surrounded by hellish flames. The creature must make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh yeah, because he's great at those, is Ben.
Yeah. Question. Is it possible for me to choose a higher level spell slot to use when I use the Hellish Rebuke as a reaction?
You may, yeah.
It depends, Felicia. Is it a tiefling ability or is it
Tiefling ability.
Oh, in that case, no, that's level 1.
That's
Yeah.
why I wondered. But
Yeah.
yes.
He rolled a 4. Roll for damage.
Okay, 2d10. Let's see, those are the d10s. I want those two. The pretty black one is the... And that one. They're good. I like it. 2d10, one's a 10 and one's a 3, so 13.
13 points of damage. Yeah, Ben comes up, slashes your skin, and as he does so, a little bit of this hellish blood, this fiendish blood, comes out of your body, and the blood itself sets on fire. As it does so, you just kind of flex your kind of magical ability. The blood flies at him like napalm. And he stood on a table. He's feeling really dramatic, and then the blood hits him and then just sprays and ignites. And he's shrouded in flames. Ben had 11 hit points.
Yeah.
Ben's job was to shoot a light crossbow from the top of a wall. He is not one of nature's up-close fighters. He was kind of relying
So much work to do.
Yeah, this is going interesting. He's on fire next to the burning corpse of Nisa and the burning corpse of a homunculus. It's getting a bit hot. Farewell, Glory.
Yeah.
It's getting quite cozy right now. You have resistance to fire. It's kind of reminding you of back home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the first time I've done this.
Is Seth intimidated yet?
We'll get to that in a minute.
Or he sure fucking is now.
I'd hope so.
Okay.
I'm doing my best here.
There's something that a lot of people don't do in D&D games, and I'm a big believer in it. So I'm going to do it now, and I'm going to roll a route check for poor Eric.
Does he want to stay and
Run,
die?
Oh, Eric, you idiot! That's the time you get a 19. Okay, right. So.
He ran 19 feet.
No, he's got a moment of stupid bravery as he tries to avenge his friend. He runs up to Aiden.
Hello.
Remember, you've got your main go, Shiden.
Yeah.
Actually, I can't use it because I use my reaction for an opportunity attack.
Oh, of course.
Oh
you
yeah.
Yep. Does a 9 hit you, Tank?
I've just got this mental image of like Aiden just flicking his wrist very gently and just parrying with like no effort whatsoever.
Yeah.
Aiden wears quite a swishy coat. Eric has basically just batted the swishy coat with his sword. The swishy coat is magical in nature and doesn't even tear, doesn't even scuff. It looks scuffed already, but he slashes with the sword and then kind of goes, oh, and looks slightly terrified at Aiden. This homunculus here is also going to try to jump on Aiden. Okay, so that's the lower.
Well, they were called to stand down, so are they attacking now?
It was dependent on what happens in the turn. They've just seen chaos happen, and they're excited. They are very, very excited.
I mean, fair enough. Glory likes the chaos too.
Okay,
so
well,
I understand them.
I just rolled, and if they rolled incorrectly, which they didn't, they would have attacked Eric.
Oh, poor Eric.
Okay, but they rolled the right way, so they are going to go for Aiden. Okay, so the homunculus runs up to Aiden and basically starts chewing on his coat. Okay.
Everybody seems to be really interested in your coat today, Aiden.
Yeah, I don't know why.
The second homunculus, the one that's next to Zev, I need to roll for him. Oh, you idiot. Okay, right.
I think this will all be over before he gets round to a second turn.
Yeah, this was supposed to be a decisions encounter rather than a, this is a really difficult combat and you're going to die. The second homunculus starts attacking Zev, and Zev kind of goes. The homunculus comes up. It looks like he's kind of just nicked Zev on the arm, just a little bit of blood, and Zev just starts slapping this creature across the face, just going, "You idiot! She's over there, Nick!" And
But he's in the zone of silence.
Hmm?
He's in the zone of silence.
Okay, sorry, he mouths the words then. And there's just this confused look from the homunculus, where he's just kind of like, Actually, the zone of silence meant that they wouldn't have heard Glory either, actually.
Oh shit, I didn't think about that.
That's okay. We'll say that somehow they did get to hear you for whatever reason, because it was funny. Right, so
Yeah.
Eclipse, what are you doing?
So what I want to do is, if I can quickly, what I want to do essentially is I want to run, and I basically want to land on top of this guy with a knife to his throat, and I want to say something, but to do that I need Farewell to drop the silence. Can I kind of message?
It's not concentration. It's just that.
No, I think silence is concentration, isn't it?
Oh yeah, sorry. There's a little C next to it. You are right.
Yeah. So if
You can move him out of the circle.
Well, he won't be able to drop the silence on your turn. What you'd have to do is run up to him, hold an action.
Concentration, so he can drop it at any time because he can just choose to lose concentration, can't he?
Let's see. Yes.
Making the assumption that I want to choose to drop it.
Yes.
Actually, wasn't
I was
Farewell
gonna say-
while he was holding the silence?
Pinning him to the floor with a knife against his throat. that you would drop it, then we can intimidate him.
Well, first you'd have to pin him to the floor with a knife to his throat.
Yes,
Yeah.
so if that happens, you can... Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I want to attempt.
So I'm going to say that what you're asking for here is a grapple check.
Not exactly.
Well, that's what pinning someone to the floor and putting a knife to their neck entails. They're not going to just go, oh, hang on, am I on the floor? Oh, hang on a second. They're going to need to be forced to the floor.
Okay, I will
You can
try.
do it. You can do it. We believe in you, Karen.
Yes,
We believe in you.
with my -1. Here we go.
Roll high.
It's a strength check, is it? Or can I...
Sadly, yeah.
If this is what you want to do, it's a strength check.
Well, it's really cool if it succeeds. If it doesn't, it would be really lame. But
Yeah, just be careful you don't land in the fire, because there's fire on the light table, on the floor, and next
That's
to the
fine.
table.
that's fine.
How much did you score?
So I scored an 18 total.
Ooh.
19 -1.
Okay.
Not
He got a 15. 16 -1. 2 strength 8 characters fighting it out.
It's the most pathetic fight you've ever seen in your life. It's like one of those slap fights that little children have. It's like,
Eclipse barely touches Seb, and Seb just falls to the ground.
Yep.
So I'm on top of Zeb. Do you drop the silence for me so I can speak to him?
yes.
Yeah.
Seeing that Eclipse has successfully pinned our mark, I will drop the silence.
Okay.
And I say to him, now it's time to talk.
Okay, just getting rid of the zone of silence. He goes, I was talking before you lot started, and now you've killed them! My own siblings! Aiden, what are you doing, if anything? You've got you've got the guard, who, because you're still in combat, I mean, things haven't changed just because Zev got brought to the floor. You've got a homunculus and Eric the guard. And also, near you, a slightly growing fire.
Nah.
You might want to take out the fire because we
Don't worry about the fire.
I can't take
Don't
out
worry.
fires. I
Don't
just
worry
set
about the
things on
fire. I'll do what I did the last time we started a fire.
Farewell. Only you can prevent encounter fires.
Yeah.
I'm going to change my character description to not Cleric of the Grave, but Firefighter.
Firefighter, yeah.
Simon, I think I remember Nata saying she didn't really care if we burned the house down this time.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I rather. Anyways, Simon, is there a way that I can disarm this guard?
I don't worry.
Yes. So there's a few things you can do. So I would say that you could use your regular attack roll, and it would forego damage, so that damage wouldn't happen. You'd kind of Zorro his sword out of his hand.
Right.
Yeah. Or you could do an intimidation check where you put your rapier up to his neck and say, "Don't die today, friend," or something like that. If you do that, interestingly, because this is something that Matt Mercer does actually, is that in some cases you can use things like strength for an intimidation check rather than anything else. For you, it would be Dex, because it would be just this lightning fast blade that stops, inches from his throat, or, for example, does the meme thing of the point just touching the skin and a single drop of blood just running down his neck. If you wanted to do that, I would absolutely let you do that.
I approve. Go for the drama, Aiden. The drama.
Edge of the rapier right up against his throat.
Okay. Are you proficient in intimidation?
I am not.
Okay, in that case, I want you to just do a regular dex check without proficiency.
16.
Yeah, sure. he drops the sword and he's like, all right, all right, all right.
I advise you that you should probably leave.
Convincing.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Right.
Anything else for your turn, Aiden?
I still have a homunculi right to my side, right?
Yeah, there's a homunculus to your side, but that was your attack. It wasn't your attack. That was your action. Yeah.
I know. So just in case I have to deal with the homunculi, I'm gonna use my crimson right, and
Okay.
I'm gonna use Rite of Dawn. Do my rapier. What I'm gonna feel like I still have blood trickling after I did the curse of binding.
Yep, sure.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my rapier and just start smearing what's left on it on the blade, and then the blade will start glowing.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. No problem.
Glory's impressed.
You made things shiny, and all it cost was your blood. Glory approves. So,
Farewell is horrified.
My tail at the moment is swaying angrily, flicking. As cat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your cat.
Well,
annoyed cat. Annoyed cat.
annoyed cat. But with
Yeah,
an
Glory's still
Nice
sitting
cat.
back what? I have full control of this situation,
No, no, I'm not looking at you. I'm looking at Sev at the moment with a knife.
Mhm.
I'm a knife cat.
Okay.
Nice cat.
I'm going to do a bravery check for Zev.
Do a concentration.
He-
Constitution saving throw. Does he shit himself?
Well, I'm giving him advantage because you killed his siblings. He didn't like them very much, but they were his siblings. So, let's see. No, okay, he's going to do that. I would like Eclipse and Glory to make dexterity saving throws as Zev's eyes suddenly go cloudy, and I mean they turn completely white. He says something in Primordial, if any of you understand Primordial.
I do.
What's the rules while he's grappled with casting spells and stuff?
He can attack whilst he's grappled. Melee attacks, I think, are done at disadvantage, but this is an innate ability.
I was going to say if spells do something about advantage on saving throws or anything.
What type of saving throw were you doing?
It's a dexterity saving throw, and to answer your question, Corinne, this is happening. Is basically the quick answer is this is happening.
I was wondering if you were getting advantage on the saving throw because he was grappled or not, or if that's not a thing.
No, if anything, be glad I'm giving you the dexterity saving throw because you're in physical contact with him. Technically, it should just hit. Farewell. You hear him say in Primordial, "Skies come down upon you, curse you all."
I got an 8.
You got an 8, okay, right? And
Yeah. I guess this is happening now.
Yeah, you take your full damage there.
so, what? How much for? What did Eclipse get?
15.
Okay, so his DC is 13. So Eclipse passes and Glory fails. Each of you take. So I want Glory to take 38 points of lightning damage.
Holy shit, Percy!
Ooh.
And half of that, so that would be 19 points for the kitty. Zev, I'm going to let Farewell do either a history check or a arcana check, or even a religion check for him.
Okay. Sorry, what's the religion, arcana, or
History.
I'm going to do religion because I've got proficiency in that. That is 16.
Okay, so you've been told a lot of stories of your people, and the Genasi have stories from all over the elemental planes because they come from different elemental planes. This is one from the Air Genasi, and there are some people who have their souls attuned to elemental planes. They can be any race. They are more common amongst the Genasi of that particular plane. And the ones that are connected to the plane of elemental air are called Skyweavers. And this guy, Zev, now that you see the eyes clouding over, the strange zephyr where clouds just kind of appear around his body, and then the bolt of lightning that came from his body through Eclipse, but then hitting Glory full force in the face, this lightning bolt, you're there going, Zev's got an elemental soul.
Oh,
Okay.
shit. That is literally the only thing you hear from Fellow once Glory drops. It's
Yep.
just, oh, shit.
At least I was sitting in a chair, so I just like.
Yeah.
That wasn't more than your hit points you just ate. Then, was
No.
it?
Now,
I had 22 left. My maximum is 25.
so she's not chunky salsa, but she is now at 0 hit points.
Yeah.
Cora,
No.
what
I'm
would
still up. I'm at 6 hit points.
Cora? What
I'm
are you
still
doing?
grappling him.
Yep. Let's get to the next person in the initiative, please.
Right.
Cora, what are you doing?
Okay.
This has gone all very wrong.
Yeah, Cora is like shitting herself at what just went down. And she is looking for roll 20. Right. Lots of people dying. Cora is so the guy's currently grappled, although
He's got a cat on him.
He's got a cat.
But a cat who's now smoking from. So
From lightning.
I had cast Hex on the guy who got obliterated instantly. I can, as a bonus action, move Hex. So
You
I
may
will
indeed.
move Hex to our main guy.
Okay, so Zev is now hexed.
If you give,
And
I was gonna say, if you give disadvantage
Let her
on,
finish.
yeah, I was just gonna recommend if you give disadvantage on Dex checks, he has disadvantage on escaping the grapple.
yeah, okay, but can I change the thing that I had already put on?
I'll say yes. I'll say yes with every allocation. I'll say yes.
I don't know whether that's what I want to do.
That's
I
fine
think
if you
I'm-
don't want to do that.
Well, I'm gonna keep it as wisdom, and I'm gonna try and hold person again. I
Okay.
think. Because
Okay.
Cora's
Do you
not
have that many
like-
spell slots left? Because
Oh,
I
Hold
think
on.
you are out of spell slots now.
you might well be right.
You
might well be
used-
right.
You used whole person and you used hex. That's two
Wait,
spell
that's
slots.
Actually, that's very true. No, I can't. I can move Hex across, but I can't do another spell.
Eldritch Blast.
Cora's gonna Eldritch Blast him.
Go for it.
Oh no, we lost a recruiter.
Because we,
Oh, no.
I don't. She doesn't want to kill him, but she's like, he's clearly still very powerful. He's just taken us, those two down. So,
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yep, hang on. I'm just rearranging you all now. I can see.
oh,
It's player roulette.
Woohoo!
Dum, dum, dum,
Oh, I
dum,
don't
dum,
roll-
dum,
do I
dum.
roll to hit? I rolled to hit, don't I?
Yes, you roll to hit. It's your spell attack modifier.
Attack and- So
And then it's
17 to hit.
Yep, that hits, and it's
Okay.
Oh, can you roll with disadvantage because he's under a cat?
Oh, okay, yeah. My second roll was a natural 20, so I think we'll stick with what I got.
Okay, sure. Roll a d10 for damage.
Right. That is a... Well, oh yes, that is a 5. Oh wait, no, I moved my hex across.
And an extra d6, yeah.
Yeah, so...
We just don't want to kill him.
No, but I'm assuming he's got a lot of hit points. You had to blast the woman about 10 times. Oh.
No,
6 blast.
only 4.
Okay.
Whatever.
Blast.
6 points.
Okay, so 6 points, so 5 and 6. Or was it 5 and 1?
No, it was a 5 and a 1.
5 and a 1. Okay, yeah, a mighty 6 points. Yeah, you've given him what I guess is the arcane equivalent of jawing him. So yeah, you hit him and you hear this. Oof! So I'll get rid of my little lightning template there.
Hold on. 2, 1. Oh no. Right. I also want to move.
Yeah, maybe move
10,
closer to the action.
40. I mean, 5. 10, 15. Can I jump up here onto the table where he might be able to see me? And as a free action, cool down at him. Like, stop or more people will die. We just need to talk to you.
Yeah, that's 25.
Okay.
But in the American accent I'm meant to be doing. Whoops.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you call down at him. He seems to be in some sort of strange, almost enraged state, but you have a feeling you have got through to a certain degree. Okay.
Sleep
Can
on
I
him.
also move Awen at the same time as I move, or is it like one or the other?
You can, let's see, you're pact of the chain or pact of the...
I'm trying to make sure I've got all that detail in front of me. But...
So, you're pact to the chain, so you can get her to move around, but she can only attack if you forego one of your attacks.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she can move, though. Can I... I'm just going to kind of move her...
Sure.
Up. Not quite hovering over the dead body. Well, up here, so she's got a view of everything, but also could move around or whatever.
Sure. No problem.
Done.
Okay. Farewell. There's something you might want to do,
Okay, so he's just going to reach down and we'll cast Cure Wounds on Glory. Glory,
Okay.
you get 12 hit points. I don't even need to roll that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah, because I'm grave. And right, so how rough, Simon, would you say that Eclipse looks to me?
Out of character, Eclipse, how many hit points are you on?
6.
She's looking really bloody rough. You don't even have to roll.
Okay. So
we all have health potions in our pouches.
Yeah.
I have, but they're expensive. And we need to save those, and I have spell slots.
Paying for them.
So for my bonus action, because it is, funnily enough, on my actions as a bonus action,
Yep.
I would like to cast Healing Word.
Absolutely.
On Eclipse.
Yep.
And Eclipse, you're in luck. That's 7 points of healing you've taken.
Thank you.
Ooh, nice.
Nicely done.
And then for my movement, what I'd like to do is I want to, because I've got 30 feet of movement, I want to get over there away from the fire.
Absolutely. Go for it.
I'm a water boy, and water boy does not like fire.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Righto.
Move yourself.
Okay, so I need to do a quick roll before we go on to Glory.
Hello.
Yep. Yeah.
Hello.
So this carpeted area
Mm-hmm.
is going to grow a bit in terms of fire.
Yeah.
There we go. So the fire is spreading. And Glory, what would you like to do? There are two homunculuses, a guard who's given up, and Zev who's currently covered in cat.
Right.
So I'm gonna. My plan is to do a bit of casual mutilation and then basically tell him that I got paid for his head, but if he does what I say, then he might be able to.
Yeah.
Look.
That can happen during your turn. I have
Yes, I'm just saying what my plan is, so you guys know.
Yeah, but my character doesn't know that's your plan.
What are you doing, Glory?
Well, first of all, I'm a little bit pissed. Okay?
Yes, because it's not been going well for you, you know. You haven't taken any
No.
kills. Yeah. But the nearly dying part, I guess, is a reason.
Yeah. So,
Oh no. This is gonna be bad.
like,
Goodbye,
the
guys.
homunculuses they exist still, and that's kind of annoying me. So I'm thinking a twinned chromatic orb with acid hurled at the two of them.
Go for it.
I'm just gonna use the sorcery point, and it is my favorite spell. That is chromatic orb. It's gonna be fun when I get higher spell slots and can add more d8s. I am gonna need my d8s, and I'm gonna need a one of those. You have served me well today. Let's see here. 19 plus 5. Yeah, that's a hit.
Yep.
I'm not even asking. Like, let's see here. 7, a 5. That's 12 plus 1. That's 13 in the first guy.
Okay, 13 points of fire damage on the one next to... acid damage. Yep, sorry, acid damage. On the one next to Aiden. So, yeah, Aiden, you just watch as this huge splash of foul-smelling ichor hits the first one. I'll give them a little splashed by acid badge. And how much damage did you say?
13.
13 points. Wow. Most of the flesh starts just falling off the body, and the homunculus is looking around. It kind of reacts viscerally to the pain, but it seems to just be looking around with the same rage. Even though it does react to the pain, it doesn't seem to intimidate it at all, which suggests to you that you are correct. This is an arcane construct. This is not a technically living creature.
Yeah. Is 13 a hit on the other one?
Yes, it is. It's on the nose.
That's good. Not too good, but 9 points of damage.
Sure. Yep, that's... The second one manages to withstand it a little bit more. As it gets hit, it kind of flinches, and some of the acid kind of falls to the floor. But yeah, it's definitely not enjoying itself.
No, I'd hope not. Now, I still have a bonus action and movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think you're out of sorcery points, though.
I am out of sorcery points. That's already fine. I'm more thinking about actually moving.
Yeah. Glory's like a shotgun. She can do a large amount of damage for the first few turns, and then after that has to rough it with the rest of us mortals.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. Like, I like the fire and all, but...
I fear when you level up.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
We're going to be level 3 forever.
Yeah, because I would actually like to go and stand by Eclipse over here.
Sure.
like next to the guy on the floor. And I would like to use a bonus action to chug a health potion.
Go for it. Okay. Next up is Eric.
How
Eric
does
is
a health potion work now again?
2d4 plus 4. So roll 2d4, add 4 to it, and heal up. You manage your own health. Your own health. So
2d4 plus 4.
that's correct.
Yeah.
You've been given the standard little health potions, little vials. You haven't earned the right to have better than that yet.
No, that's fine.
Okay, so Eric is going to make some good life choices, and he's going to scream and run for the exit. He gets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, he actually gets into the exit itself. Yeah, he's running, crying, and making, let's call it fear-based stench. So that's him. And I'm just going to, there we go, center them out. The first homunculus that's near Aiden is going to attack his coat for a bit more. And because the nearest person now, because she's covering Zev, is Eclipse.
Simon, CNG viewer dropped out.
Okay, hang on.
No one can see anything anymore.
No.
They should still be able to hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just.
They just can't see Roll20. Or can't see us changing.
They can't see us, that's the thing.
It's all good.
They can't see you guys, yeah, because CNG viewer is the Discord. So let's see.
Oh, I see. Oh, we've frozen, yeah.
I know.
God, and I had to freeze with the worst look on my face.
You look like you're trying to suppress a yawn.
That's exactly what I was doing. I was desperately like, don't yawn on camera, don't yawn on camera. Again, like I've had too many fucking pills.
Okay, I'm going to try to refresh this.
Oh, kill them.
Yeah, I don't think you're lawful neutral anymore.
I am.
Yeah, there may be a long
Maybe not.
conversation with you and Simon after this one about what constitutes lawful neutral.
maybe in your home city.
That's kind of the thing. Like, this is lawful neutral back home. Like, if you got a job, why not do it properly? Like, if someone insults you, you do attack them, but like, it's kind of most things are sold in the gladiators arena.
Oh, it looks like it's rebooting now.
Ashes at the end, I think, would be okay.
Well, shall we take a break while this is happening, Simon?
Yeah.
Actually, it's 9:30. Well, it's actually 9:45. This is a very good place to have a break. So we'll have a break there while I talk nicely to Discord. And oh, there we go. So it should be working by the time we come back. But we'll have a quick break, and we will see you guys soon. Welcome back, everybody, and thanks very much for bearing with us. Our invisible member of the party, which is our CNG viewer for Discord, is now back up and running, so you'll be able to see our beautiful faces, even though you could see us before. So previously, the bandit, Eric, made a very good choice and ran the hell away. And the two homunculi attacked Aiden, and I think I was about to attack Eclipse when everything. Yeah. So, that's terrible. That's actually terrible. So, the second homunculus, which is the top one, closest to Eclipse, bites down hard, but doesn't manage to differentiate what is fur and what is skin. So what's happened is the homunculus has actually bitten its own lip and now has a mouthful of fur.
Oh.
It pulls away and kind of... and there's blood running down its mouth. So, Eclipse, it's your turn.
Okay. So, to cut off a finger, could I do this in this, or would that be like a thing I need to do later?
Depends.
Call it a cold shot. You would need to use a dagger. You would need to do an attack roll, and you would need to get what I believe is the correct amount of hit points for a finger. And of course, everybody knows that DMs do a large amount of preparation. They wing nothing in any game ever. And so I now know the hit points of every part of every body part of every enemy that you go up against. I have an extensive database.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, on that mutilation part, I've been thinking about it, and let's just say Glory has an idea.
Okay.
Well, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm mutilating him with the... That's my point. Since he's grappled, I get advantage on the thing.
Yes, you do.
Do you get advantage? Because to stab him, don't you have to like release one hand to actually grab the dagger?
Grapple, I still get. I can still do like most of my actions while I grapple him somehow.
She's sitting on him for the most part.
Yeah.
Fair.
So that's a 20 to hit,
Sure.
and then sneak attack.
How do you? Okay.
Because I had advantage on the attack, and I get sneak attack if I got advantage on the attack.
Rogues.
Right.
They're all bullshit, man. They're all bullshit.
To be fair, I did over 30 damage in one round, so
Okay,
I can't really speak.
11 points of damage.
Okay. So, of that 11, because it was a cold shot and it was to the finger, he only takes 4 points of that 11 damage. But the finger is off.
Okay, and as I do that, and I will lean down and whisper in his ear and say, I was hired to take the life of you. I'm suddenly sounding Scottish.
Yeah, I was about to say she's gone Scottish all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I was hired. I
She's Scottish now.
Okay, so I'm assuming you're going to say something along the lines of, I was hired to kill you, my friend, but I'm only going to take this as...
Yes, I was hired to kill you, my friend, but I am willing to let you go if you do everything we say. Can I do a deception check?
Isn't that intimidation?
I'm going to say it isn't. You are lying, but the effect that you want is intimidation. At this point, he doesn't give a shit whether you're telling the truth or not. What needs to get through to him is intimidation. So roll for intimidation.
Okay.
It's a deceptive intimidation.
Yes.
Is it deceptive intimidation? Can I apply proficiency to intimidation?
This is some Patrick Rothfuss type bullshit.
Yeah. I'm going to say
I'm fine if the answer is no.
the answer is no, and yeah, give me your result.
Okay.
Good try, though.
Oh, that's not great.
I do admire the fact
11.
that she's unafraid of trying.
Okay, so 11. So let's see. He will be resisting with that.
Great.
The clouded eyes start to fade, and he goes, "What's the deal?" So
What did you roll?
now it's Aiden's turn. Okay. You've got homunculus chewing at your coat. It's doing it with great zeal. It's kind of like, it really thinks it's getting there.
All right, I'll just first of all
Poor little guy. I kind of want to keep one of them.
try to quickly kill it.
I would recommend just rolling to hit. Just roll to hit. Any amount of damage you do to this thing will kill it.
10 to hit.
Hmm?
10 to hit.
No, because he's so enthusiastically gnawing at your coat, he's rolling around the place a bit like a kind of monkey on LSD. And so you're trying to stab at him, but he's just not staying still.
All right, I just. Okay, I'm gonna deal with that later. And I'm hearing what the conversation between Eclipse and Sev is. So when he asks what is the deal, I say, okay, first of all, you don't fuck with anyone that works for Mrs. Green. I think that should be blatantly clear.
Okay, he'll answer that in a sec.
Mm-hmm.
It's safe to keep it going. And that's all I'm gonna say for my turn. I don't want to
Sure.
hog it all.
Okay. So it's his turn, and he kind of relaxes and goes, at which point the two homunculuses disappear.
Aww.
Felicia, what the them?
I want them as pets.
Okay, then we're out of initiative.
We're out of initiative, and he says, I think that is the lesson that we've learnt today. Do not mess with Ms. Green.
Can I do?
I personally would appreciate it if you stopped swindling people out of their fucking money.
I'm pretty sure we've been told that you're not to consider your city and do this sort of stuff.
Can I do a couple of quick things, Simon?
Yeah, he's just lying there, kind of panting and staring at the ceiling. This is somebody who looks very defeated. I mean, as I say, he killed his family, and he's kind of bitter, enraged, but defeated. And he seems to be in one of those kind of quandaries where he's kind of almost thinking, should I have gone out in a blaze of glory, or should I have... Although the blaze of glory is kind of ironic right now. But yeah, it's... but yeah, at least they're saying, should I have gone out in a blaze of glory, or should I have surrendered earlier? And he just looks over at the incredibly charred corpse of his sister.
I'm going to
momentarily
cast, call of the wave, and I'm going to create basically a 30-foot. Well, it's going to be a 15-foot sort of rectangle doubled over all that fire to put it out, and he's just going to create like a rainfall over all of that and just put all of that fire out.
Sure.
Farewell, cleric of the firemen.
Yeah, and bringing new meaning to the term water, eh? Water genasi.
Yes.
I'm going to kneel down and speak in primordial. And for everybody, it's going to sound kind of like a river. That you know, you sort of, it's got that sort of cadence to it.
Okay, as soon as Farewell opens his mouth to open Primordial and it sounds like a river, my immediate reaction is, how the fuck are you doing that with your mouth?
Okay, I can do my thing after. That's fine.
Okay. So what do you say in primordial?
I'm sorry. This wasn't how this was supposed to go. Your family wasn't supposed to die. And whilst this won't bring them back, I will make sure that they are tended to. This is probably not the best place for you anymore. Revenge, whilst it might sound good, will only bring you more suffering. You would be best if you fled. I will take care of my friends. But once we are done and you're let go, leave slowly but calmly. Go.
The words out of his mouth sound like rushing wind. So Aiden's got two things. It's like, no, seriously, you can't do that with your mouth. And the rushing wind coming from his mouth sounds to you, Farewell, like, I have nothing left here, and only enemies. I shall leave.
I am truly sorry. I am truly, truly sorry.
You keep deadly company. I swindle people out of their earnings, sure. But you come in with people who decimate lives, families.
Yes. I know now. And I'm going to go over to his sister who was charred, and just see what I can do.
Sure. For the most part, what you can really do is just arrange clothing. Her cloak is burnt to shit. You do see that there's some tablecloths and other kinds of things nearby. The best thing you can think of doing is just wrapping her body up in something that's, even if you expose the face, her face is charred and melted. As I say, the left-hand side of her face is completely cooked. So the best thing you can do is just completely wrap her in a kind of mummy style, sarcophagus style, and you've done this a lot. So yeah, you pick the things that you need, and very quickly Naira is wrapped up.
I'd like to go over, and if I waft my hand over his head, do I find a hat that I can pull off?
I was gonna ask him for a hat. I was gonna ask him.
Okay.
What are you gonna do, Felicia?
After Farewell spoke with him, I was depending on. Have you gone off him yet?
I'm currently still sitting on him in case he wants to try anything, but if you want me to move, you can tell me to move.
Okay, before we get too far, Cora, you go up, grab hold of what appears to be his hair, feel a kind of velvet feeling, you pull it off, and a less attractive version of the man that you saw before lies underneath in robes that are stained with food stains. Suddenly a smell that wasn't there before, a smell of body odor, hits you, and you can see that there are certain injuries that you're like, oh yeah, he had those injuries, that you're aware of now, and you can see them in all their glory. And he's gone from looking like the bee's knees to just this smelly wretch of a character.
Right.
Okay. You have a cap of disguise. Was it a cap of disguise?
Cap of disguise.
Yeah, in your hand. So, what was Glory's action going to be?
Honestly, I kind of wanted to pull him up with my tail, so like he comes slightly closer to eye level. I want to tell him like, I do not appreciate the eyes you looked at me with, and back home we would, for such a transgression, let's just say you would see no more.
He's looking at you with a certain amount of rage. I mean, he did watch you blowtorch his sister to death. It's one of those kind of things where he's steeling himself to say, he doesn't say it, but he's looking at you as if to say, if you're going to take my eyes, you're going to take my eyes. There's nothing I can do about it. But he's just looking at you. He's showing a certain amount of reckless courage here.
For God's sake, leave the man alone. We've already.
I was actually gonna look over at Eclipse. Did you take that finger, or do we still need something?
Oh, you can see he's bleeding from his left hand.
Okay.
No, everything's fine.
Let him
I
go.
suppose.
Please.
And I look over at the other people. I guess we've done enough.
Please, let him go.
Yep. I throw him to the side, like, just shrugging him off.
He falls to the floor. He walks. He kind of crawls up to Darrow, who is there, and he actually. At this point, you see that even though he was offended and also devastated at you killing his siblings, he crawls up to Darrow, pulls Darrow's cloak off, puts it around his own shoulders, and starts to crawl up the stairs to his apartments.
I'm going to follow him.
Okay.
Before he leaves, I'm gonna say to him, now, we're not taking, the only thing we're taking from you is the hammer and the hat. You get to keep everything else. Do what you will with it.
He doesn't acknowledge you. He just carries on climbing up. Not climbing, crawling up the stairs. And after a while, he kind of sits for a second because there's nothing wrong with his legs. And he pulls himself up onto his feet and starts to stumble up the stairs. A little bit kind of, you think he might be in shock. And farewell, as you say, you follow him up.
I was gonna stop farewell and kind of give him a look to say Eowyn will follow him. Don't risk it for now.
It's fine. I know what I'm doing. It's okay. Trust me.
Then I'll let him go and I'll follow as well, but like a couple of 10 feet behind.
Okay. So he goes upstairs. He looks into two of the rooms, one of them being presumably his sister's. He opens a very small bedside table, pulls out a sack, takes the drawer that had some of her keepsakes in there, and he pours the keepsakes into the sack. It doesn't even fill the sack an eighth full. He goes into the next room, which is where presumably his brother's was, and he does pretty much the same thing. He ferrets around a few different places, picks up some keepsakes, and pours them into the sack. He then goes into presumably his room, ferrets around inside a wardrobe, pulls out a familiar-looking bag, puts the sack into the bag, and the sack disappears. He then starts pulling out, and he has a lot of very, very expensive-looking clothing. But you notice that lots of it is in disrepair or stained or just not washed. As I say, the smell of body odor does hit you in this room. He pulls a lot of the clothes and just stuffs them into this bag of holding where it just keeps disappearing and disappearing and disappearing. He grabs hold of a purse that is in his bedside cabinet and a few extra items, throws them in there too. When he turns to leave his room, because up until now it's been kind of in a dreamlike state, he looks at you. There's a look of defeated rage, and he just kind of walks past you, kind of not quite shoulder barging you as he passes, but still kind of just walking past with a certain amount of "get out my way" kind of thing. Not exactly threatening, but more a case of, he doesn't want to even see you right now.
I think we should.
I just realised, did I reveal the map upstairs? No, I didn't. So if I just reveal...
Yeah, as he passes Simon, I will say, did they have any preferences?
Hang on a sec. I'm just trying to get the map to move. Well, you guys should be able to see it. I just can't get the Roll21 to do it on the stream at the moment. But they're not missing much. You can just see that there's a ritual room. He doesn't pay attention to you at first. He walks into the ritual room, takes some very careful a careful choice of wands and arcane instruments, and almost like coming out of a dream state, he turns and looks at you as if to notice you for the first time, and says, "Ayuna or Arathis will be fine. If the Raven Queen will also be fine.
I will ensure that they are welcomed with open arms. This I promise."
There we go. So those are the rooms there that I've put onto the stream now. There's this ritual room. He looks at the ritual circle in the middle of the room and reaches to the fresco that's in the floor. He puts his hands on what seems to be a bunch of snakes that are spreading out in a concentric pattern, twists, and the capstone lifts off. He puts his hand inside and pulls out a pouch. Cora is, did you say, like 10 foot behind Farewell?
Yeah, I'm kind of, like
Okay.
5 foot. I was just sort of trailing.
In that case, Farewell and Cora, can you both make Arcana checks, please?
I thought you were going to say dex saving throws.
I don't know shit about Arcane, and that's a 5.
I got a 13.
A 13. So, Cora, these are quite clearly some form of reagent. The reagent is powder-like in nature. At 13, almost looks a little glittery, I guess. And he pulls out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pouches, each one the size of someone's fist, and puts them in the bag of holding.
Does it look glittery like red glitter?
The colour of the glitter is not red.
Okay.
So can I make a other character guess and say that's residuum, but normal residuum?
That's a theory.
Yeah.
You do know that normal residuum...
How many? Sorry, 6 bags?
5 bags.
From where? Where does he pull them from?
If I just draw a wee circle here.
Oh, from that little cupboard area.
So no, it's the ritual area here. So you can see there's a small relief in the middle of the room. There's like a carving in the floor.
Yeah.
The middle of that carving is actually a capstone, and he twisted the capstone off, and underneath there was a like a secret compartment, and inside were 5 bags of, as I say, the way that the bags fall, you think a powder-like substance, and it glittered slightly. You can't tell the color, but you know it's not red, because red would definitely show up. Yeah. Okay. And for everybody else's benefit, regular residuum is effectively like a gold glitter. Okay. So he puts those into the bag of holding, and he takes a final look around and says, "Yes, the Raven Queen shall suffice, as long as her ritual has been done. At least I know they won't be coming back."
I shall make sure that both Ayun and the Raven Queen wait.
He opens his mouth as if to thank you, and then the scowl crosses his face, and he just strides out of the room. He goes down the stairs, and Glory, Aiden, and Eclipse, you watch as, with just a light satchel over his shoulder, he walks into the room, walks up to the shelf with the flask of unending water, puts that in his satchel, walks up to the games set, which is over here.
What did you want to do, Felicia?
So
I can do that after this.
Okay.
he picks up the game set, puts the entire chess set into the bag. The bag doesn't seem to take any shape, so you guys now know it's a bag of holding as well. He then goes to the... I'm just going to move Cora off. He then goes to the table in the middle with all the scrolls on it, and he takes pretty much all the scrolls off there, forces them into the bag as well, takes a final look round as if to say, have I forgotten anything? And then kind of looks at you guys one last time, scowls, and walks out.
Could I say something before he goes?
Yes, he'll be ferreting around, so you do have the opportunity.
Just kind of as he sort of looks back before he leaves, I just want to be like, you have great skills. You could be doing something so much better than scamming people. We are no example of anything that is a good idea. But anywhere you go, you will find opposition like us, I guess. So why not do things that benefit people instead?
He doesn't acknowledge you, and he's walking to the door.
Yeah, that I didn't want anything from it. I just wanted
Very well. Are you done with your rites?
Far from done.
While he is doing his rites and all that, I want to examine the dead homunculus.
Okay, the only homunculus that's left is the one that got very heavily burnt. The other two were alive when he said the dismissal word. I would like you to... Glory was the only one, I think... Who speaks Abyssal again?
Farewell.
Okay, so...
And he would have no interest in this.
Okay, so just for Farewell's knowledge, so this is only something that Farewell would know. Farewell, make an intelligence check with proficiency.
Good job, he's a smart boy. So that's provision is 17.
Beats the DC 15. You have a feeling that if you were to say that word again, defend, those homunculi would come back. But that's something only you know.
Okay. I've got the dead to tend to, so I'm going to be shuffling about and gathering them up and getting them ready to go outside. Is there a spade around?
Yes, I'll say that if you look in the kitchen area, there'll be there's coal shovels, and there's tools that will do the job. Outside in the courtyard, there's actual shovels as well.
Yeah, I'll go grab a shovel, take the bodies out, go find some soft piece of ground. And I'll
While
be gone in a
Farewell
couple
is
of
doing
hours.
this, I head out, and I'm just gonna be waiting inside the carriage.
Sure. Stuart, who was your driver, says there was a lad who came out. He was hurt. I kept my crossbow trained on him, but he just started walking down the road. He got like I don't know, about 50 foot in that direction, and he disappeared.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. And I just get inside the carriage, and I start drinking wine, I guess.
I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did Farewell just walk out with a spade?
Yeah. He
Okay.
seems to. Well, I'm not going to talk for Nick, but he seemed to have a very deliberate look on his face, as in he was doing something that maybe he's done quite a lot before.
Yeah. Cora is going to go over to the table and grab the hammer. And
Yep.
then follow Farewell out. So she has the hat and the hammer.
Did
Sure.
I ever even put down the hammer?
I'm going to say you did, because you touched the belt and stuff.
That's
so
true. That's true.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah. You touched your belt and snapped your fingers. You would have had to put the hammer down for that.
I'm gonna go to Cora and kindly ask if I could have the hat, please.
I hand over. You can have both, and I hand over both the hammer and the hat. I don't want them, and I walk out.
But I put
Okay.
the hammer in the bag of holding, and I put down the. I don't use it, but I have the hat on.
Okay.
Put the hat on your head.
It's a strange kind of. I guess I would call it a velvet wimple hat. It's kind of a hood that's not. It's kind of a hood that's not attached to anything, and it's a hood that has a kind of ridge along the length. It's not at all stylish. It looks like maybe some sort of holy man would want to wear it. It looks kind of very
So I would
slightly.
use the hat's power to make the hat invisible.
So the disguise that the hat is going to do is you not wearing the hat.
For now.
Sure. Yeah. That's never been done before. Okay. So Cora walks out. By the time you get out there, Cora, because you were stopped momentarily by Eclipse, Farewell's digging a grave.
Yes.
Okay. Glory, what are you doing?
I want to examine the thing.
Okay. I would like you to make an Arcana check, a Medicine check, and an Intelligence check.
Okay, let's start with Arcana.
Do you want any help, Glory?
Arcana's 16.
Felicia.
Yeah?
Felicia, I'm asking if you want help.
Yeah, sure. If you can help me figure out how they made this, because I want one.
Yeah. I go and theorize with Glory because I'm actually arcane trained too, and give her advantage on all her rolls.
Yep, go for it.
Okay, then I can roll again.
And take the higher of the two.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was a 13. This one is also 12 plus 3, so I'm up. Well, the first one was 13 plus 3, so that's 16. This one was 12 plus 3, so that's 15. That's worse.
Okay, so you look at the Arcana elements of it. You haven't used detect magic or anything like that so far, but you can see there's etchings on the skin. You look at the bones. The bones themselves have got a form of etching as well, and you start to get an idea of what the process might be like. Do a medical check.
Well, that's a 17 plus 1.
Okay. So the medical side of things is that you see that the the body seems to be made up of several collections of flesh and bone that seem to be stuck together, almost like with superglue. They don't have a Frankenstein's monster type look. These things haven't been stitched together, and they don't mismatch. They all match. But then there are definite kind of seams, lines between it all. And you've got some idea of how this might have happened, but let's see if you can put it all together. Give me an intelligence check.
How do I do intelligence check?
So just
Straight intelligence.
Just
Yes.
intelligence plus modifier?
just roll a d20 and add your intelligence modifier.
Okay. Still a 2d20 because Eclipse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a 16 plus 1?
Okay.
17?
So you've hit DC 15 3 times. Okay.
Yeah.
So what you've done there is that you've looked for arcane symbols, you've looked at the physical construction of the body, and you have and the intelligence is you putting it together. But the help that Eclipse has done is that he's been a sounding board. So you've kind of been, as you've been kind of pulling over the body of this thing, you've been talking, you've been chatting, gossiping about it all, and tossing ideas backwards and forwards, a little bit of a think tank. And you've come to the following conclusion. These, well, I'll use the word creatures, these constructs. You think that they've been made out of existing flesh. The flesh of what? You're not entirely sure, because you're pretty sure that as part of the ritual, these creatures are constructed roughly out of flesh. So you make what is called a poppet. Okay, so a poppet is normally normally referred to as a voodoo doll. In this case, they made a life-size version of what they wanted to out of flesh. Now, what flesh you don't know, because you think part of the ritual ends up transmuting and binding the flesh together into the final form. And then it gives the homunculi some form of sentience. Okay, it's a low intelligence sentience that they're given, like a bestial intelligence. In fact, let me just pull up the stats.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has an intelligence of. Yeah, it had an intelligence of 6. So it was able to do these things. If you were to give these beings a name, you'd probably call them shield homunculus. Some homunculus are given wings. Some of them are given kind of like poison attacks and things like that. These ones were mostly blockers. They were meant to just go up and engage people in combat, leaving the casters free to fight at a distance, which is their strength. Now, you kind of got the jump on them, and you had them kind of sat down and kind of hobbled. And in the case of Iden, he was stood right next to Darrow at the time, so Darrow was already in a compromised position because you managed to get them fooled. You have a feeling that if you hadn't fooled Zev and the others into thinking you were a customer first, they probably would have backed the hell away, conjured the homunculus in front of them, and you would have had 3 homunculus, 2 guards forming a protective wall, and the casters would have just started lobbing spells at you from behind. So you kind of reverse engineered the tactics of these people, but because you role played into it, rather than just going in guns blazing, they didn't set up their usual tactic. When you first saw, this encounter, when you first walked in, you noticed that, as players, you notice that Zev, Naira, and Darrow were in a line, and in front of them, with 3 spaces between them, were the 2 guards. If it had kicked off, the 3 homunculus would have appeared in a line between the 2 guards. So they had a tactic but you managed to get them just about believing that you were trustworthy enough that they could make some money. So you actually broke the tactic, which is why it went down as fast as it did. Okay?
Yes.
I was gonna say, like, if we'd gone in, not like. So as soon as we started threatening them, if they were all together, they would just attacked us. So we wouldn't really. The only way we could really do this was to kill some people and then have them do route checks, essentially.
Yeah.
Well, there were options, put it that way. So, the other thing, Glory, is because again you got all 3 successes. The final part of knowledge that you got regarding these shield homunculus is that they weren't undead; they were animated flesh.
Mhm.
In order for this to have worked on a base level, the flesh had to be fresh. Otherwise, it would have crept into necromancy. You had to have flesh that was still functional on a biochemical level
Mm-hmm.
for it to be able to reanimate, well, not reanimate, but to animate under a magical power source. Okay? This would have taken, one thing that you guarantee is that this would have taken some residuum to, as part of the ritual, their bodies would have been suffused with residuum. And after that, the ability to dismiss them and summon them at will, you're not quite sure which of the options are from there. It could be something that was an inherent part of the homunculuses. So they were summoned and dismissed in the same way that you would with a demon or a devil. If so, where do they go from? Or it could be some sort. Where do they go to and where do they come from? Or they may have just been teleported to a chamber nearby. Maybe there's a cage somewhere where those 2 homunculus are nearby. Or it could be that they're stored in a demiplane. Or you've heard of enchantments that allow a pocket. I'm referencing Critical Role here. There's an amulet that you can keep a single creature inside in like a form of stasis, basically a Pokeball.
Yeah.
You didn't see any of those, but those are one of 3. Those are 3 of many options that could have been used to summon and dismiss them. That's something that you can't quite figure out.
Yeah, I'm going to write all of that down with my theories and stuff like that, and just stuff it down the little bag of holding.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because that kind of information is good to have.
Right.
Especially when it's time to write home.
Okay. I'm going to change the camera to, well, Aiden's drinking. Cora, are you walking past Farewell, or are you going up to Farewell?
I'm going up to Farewell and saying, can I help?
Sure. And I take off my bag. Can you get the incense and censer out? Once I'm finished burying them, I might need to stay here for a bit and just cleanse the place. They died very violently, and sometimes people don't pass on very well if you don't die terribly well. And screaming in fire tends to do that.
That was kind of intense.
A little.
Yes. Farewell is aware that people who burn to death in particular can come back as burning spectres.
Yeah. I don't know if we had enough control there, and maybe I was wrong in suggesting the way that we did, and perhaps we should have just snuck in, and that's maybe my fault.
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, we had a specific thing to do, and I thought that those guys would be the best at it, and they kind of were. Just
Yeah.
kind of intense. That's all.
Yeah. That was definitely more than I'm used to.
Why do I have a feeling that Glory's going to put some of her party into therapy? So
That was a foregone conclusion, Simon.
It wasn't I who started this. I was following up the rules perfectly fine. It was
No,
Aiden who broke it.
I will completely agree with you. You did not start it, but my God, did you well and truly fucking finish it.
Hey, we went into stage 2/plan B. What was I supposed to do but set things afire?
Hey, it's all good. It's all good.
okay.
But what I'd like to do, Simon, just so it's clear, I'd like 3 separate graves because there's 3 different people.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm looking for is not necessarily crosses because that's very Christian, but just something that I can inscribe their names on as to who they were. I'll go through just for the sense of time because I'm looking that we're at 11:15.
Yeah.
What I will say to the guys is if they wanted to head back to the city and that I would meet them there later, they could do because this could take quite some time because the grave digging alone will take hours as we're preparing the body.
I was gonna say, I don't think it's good for us to leave without you, so instead we're just gonna help you and speed up the process.
You don't. Well,
Yeah,
you can speed up the digging, but
manual labor.
that's fine. What he will say is he will suggest that perhaps you just send maybe one of you could stay behind, but then you can send the carriage back for me. He's definitely not going to leave until he's convinced that this place is not going to turn into basically a raging spirit home that's going to lash out at the surrounding villages.
Yeah, Cora's not
How
going
long
anywhere.
time would it take for us to do like the thing for farewell?
Farewell will take a couple of hours because of the time. You have a feeling that Farewell will probably be doing it until dusk. But if you guys want to stick around, Aiden's found some wine in the back of the. I think he put some in his bag of holding, didn't he?
Yeah, he had some in
Yeah,
his
he
bag of
brought
holding.
some.
But I'm pretty sure we can find some more in their kitchen.
The way I was going on about it was that I feel I was thinking this was the same bottle of wine he's been drinking since he left the Green State.
Yeah, sure. Okay. And as Felicia's just pointed out, there's there's plenty of supplies that if you guys did end up needing a little bit of extra food, you could just go into the fort and rummage around the kitchen and find some, bread and cheese and things like that. Okay, so yeah, in fact, if you wanted to, there's a nice sofa and a fire that's available inside the keep. If you didn't want to be in the carriage for that time, so let's just say that you wait out as Farewell does what he needs to do. And
actually, I kind of wanted to take one of the chairs and go outside and kind of keep Farewell company.
Okay, so
I'm sure he loved that.
So yep.
As my poor green boy is digging his graves, you're sat on the chair watching him.
I'm sorry, but Glory is so fucking Duchess right now. It's ridiculous.
It's more the fact of why are you doing this?
Well, it could be worse. It could be the whole kind of I love hard work. I could watch it all day. But yeah, so yeah, sure. You do that.
Do you have a question, Glory? You look confused.
Yes. They attacked us and you. So I suppose I never really hung out around the priests that much. I don't really get it.
They weren't really known for their party quality, so.
No. Definitely not.
I assure you, we're not like most priests, but it's not just a question of stopping them coming back to life as vengeful spirits, or even worse, revenants. Fought one of those before, very, very long time ago, and that doesn't end well for anybody. They come and they really come for you. It's about respect. There is a great cycle to this world. I serve it. That means sometimes I help speed those along. Sometimes I stop people like I did with you today. And other times, even my most mortal enemy deserves some dignity in death. And this, for me, is a little way that I show not only my God, but the world and the cycle, that I understand it and I respect it.
So you finish up with the things you need to do, Farewell, and as it gets close to sunset, you're happy that the sun can be allowed to set on this place without any form of what you loosely translated from the text is disquiet. Disquiet is almost a way of quantifying the level of, I guess, natural necromancy, an undead forming from the act of someone dying, instead of proper necromancy, which is a deliberate act. When you're satisfied, you guys get into the carriage, and go ahead.
Sorry.
I don't know. Cora was also wants to do something, so.
Yeah.
Well, just in the time that we're spending there, in between helping with bodies or whatever, Cora wants to head back to where that stone circle was, and with Awen's help, look for any little bits of that residual, just so that she can show Farewell.
Sure. You run your hand through the little chamber, because he didn't lock up the chamber. He just left the capstone to one side. You run your fingers on the inside of the chamber, and you look at your fingertips. And your fingertips, it's like gold makeup has been put onto your fingers. And yeah, you've got some residuum on your fingers.
I'm gonna find a pouch. I haven't checked what I've got. I'm trying to think what I've got that I could just sort of wipe this off on or maybe just find a piece of cloth in the.
Yeah, I mean, like a handkerchief and a small pocket pouch. Pocket pouches are quite common here because a lot of people don't sew pockets into their clothing. So you grab hold of a cloth and you wipe the residuum onto the cloth and then put the cloth into a pocket pouch. You've got a sample, basically, a swabbed sample. Yeah, very CSI. While you're here, you can see there's a few minor arcane tools that he didn't pick up. They don't seem to be the best kept, but if they do catch your eye, if you'd like to investigate them.
I would like to investigate them. Yeah, I think I'm looking around. This place really is.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, I had enough time. I know we've only got 6 minutes left, but I did have this place kitted out for you to explore if you wanted to. So yeah, you have a look through them, and many of them are useless. Some of them you don't know what they are. Some of them seem surgical in nature, and that's a bit disturbing. There's certain knives, kind of like draw knives and things like that, which if you have proficiency in medicine or proficiency in a healer's kit, you will know that these are surgeon's tools rather than arcane, but they are dressed up as arcane tools. There's two tools that do meet your interest. The first is a steel. That's Stele. for any fans of Shadowhunters. Steel is just a rigid rod that is used to etch, either by scratching something into a surface of something. In this particular case, it is an arcane steel, and it's used almost like a wand to write runes. So you'll hear if you haven't already. One of the tropes of D&D is explosive runes, where you can just write a rune on the floor or under something, and you can set a specific trigger. So, for example, you could write a rune, put a book on top, and say, when somebody lifts up this book, I want you to explode. A kind of arcane means of putting down a landmine. There's usually a lot of damage that's put into it, but that's not the only thing you can put into runes. You can pretty much get runes to do all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff, and they can be activated by touching them, passing them, breathing on them, whatever. And that's what this is. This is a steel.
And I would know what that is.
Yeah, you've had to acquire certain items in the past.
I'll put it in my bag.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know a great deal about them, but you have heard of them. You know, magic and magic technology. I mean, even if somebody hasn't got a Maserati sports car, they still talk about them sometimes. In the same way, you know, somebody could have said, "Oh yeah, you know, he came up and he used this thing and he made this pattern and then it made the wall disappear," that kind of thing. The other thing that you find is it's kind of strange, and I'm going to get you to do an Arcana check for it. It seems to be a metal rod. You think maybe brass, or maybe very heavily polished bronze, and it's a single rod that goes into a loop, and the loop at the end of the rod, and it's like the size of a pencil, but at the end of it, there's a single loop that holds a crystal, a bit like a quartz. And it's roughly hexagonal in cross section, this crystal, and it has a little shallow peak at the end. And I'd like you to make a Arcana check, because this one wouldn't have been talked about.
That rolled onto a 1.
You have no idea what this is. It's a...
Yeah. Correct.
Show it to the other.
Oh wait, I am a halfling.
Oh, yes, you are.
That you are.
As a 7.
A 7. It's a funky...
I wouldn't know about this. I have 2 inspirations.
It's
You
a
still have your
funky...
inspiration, don't you?
I have 2. Yeah.
It's a funky crystal on a stick.
Yeah.
It's
Does
a...
the crystal look a bit like my bracelet? We don't know. It's just a crystal, isn't it? It's just
No, as far as you can tell, it's a quartz. It's some form. It's some sort of variation on a quartz. Okay. I've only got 2 minutes now, so I am going to. If you guys don't want to explore anywhere else in the fort, I will pass you on to what I've been aiming for is the final scene.
Depends. Will Cora show us the funky thing so we can Arcana check it?
She can do that at any point.
Good. Then we
Okay.
can continue.
I'm assuming that Cora's still going to take the funky crystal pencil, even though she doesn't know what it is.
yeah, because it looks like it's something, but I don't know what it is.
Okay.
It's funky.
So it's like, this looks like it's possibly something interesting. No idea.
Okay. So, very,
Joink.
very briefly, is there anything else you'd like to check out here? And that's to everybody.
Are we starting the other thing having left, or can we just pick up from here next week and we can decide?
We could pick up from here next week if you want, and you can do a bit of exploration before moving on.
I don't have anything to look at. I got to examine my thingy.
What is Glory going to spend the next 6 weeks doing? Making homunculuses. No, there's nothing Farewell would like to do.
Okay.
No,
Well,
I'm good.
well, I'll tell you what. I'll take Kate's suggestion, and I'll stop it here instead of the next scene. So you guys have got a week to decide if there's anything particularly in this area that you would like to look at.
Oh, right. It was
before we
this
leave.
table. He didn't clean this one up, did he?
That one there.
Yeah, because you said he cleaned off this table. But you never said anything about this table, and there are stuff on it.
Yeah, quite right.
Next time.
He didn't go there at all. He didn't even look at that table. Okay.
Dun dun dun.
Sure, let's dun that one. And yeah, so we'll call it there. Thank you very much, everybody. And thank you to Leanne or Rowan, as always. And I'm just having a look on the chat now. We've got Sikion, who I haven't seen on here before.
That's my DM.
That's your DM.
My home DM.
Oh, hello. And for any of you who aren't a bot on this list, who I think Commander Root Positivity Bot, I think, has come clean about being a bot. We've got some others: Skinny Seahorse, Local, Tade, and Avocado Badado. I'm pretty sure that half of those are bots anyway, but anyone who isn't a bot, say now or forever hold your peace. But anyone who isn't a bot, hello. And thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the session. I know most of the session was largely watching poor Farewell getting traumatized by Glory. But
My poor broken boy.
No, this encounter was as interesting as I expected it to be, and will definitely have repercussions. So we will.
This will have consequences.
I wanted to try and con him out of more stuff, but no, we started an encounter.
I like that. Everyone's like, we will all remember this.
So, very pleased with what you guys did. Didn't know which way it was going to go, but I have my answer now. And we will pick this up next week as you guys go back and triumphantly report your success to your new employer.
I mean, we did do what she asked us to do. So.
And we will discuss that next session. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching, and thank you very much to all the players. And we will see you guys next week. Thank you very much.